This is as groovy as it gets.
Oprah, Can You Hear Me? Oprah vs. Donald 2020 is a conversation by Julie Benetti and Susan Barbaro and a production of EI Alliance, copyright 2019. America is courtesy of New Threads off their new album, Felonious Wilma.
Hi, this is Susan, and I'm here with Julie. And we spent a lot of time talking about Oprah. And the book that we wrote really focused on Donald J. Trump. And he's an interesting specimen to discuss. And what I would like to ask is, why would he want Oprah to run? Why would he want Oprah to run?
Well, the only way I could answer that, because you're asking me and I'm the only person here, the only way I could answer that is that, sometimes it gets really boring. And you go through the same mundane every day. And it's horrible. I almost feel not ashamed, but I feel horrible at saying that the presidency could be so mundane. Because you have the people who are on news stations getting paid millions of dollars a year. Hello, people. I'm just a regular person like you. They're getting paid millions of dollars to talk about the Russians and everything else. And yet we really want to talk about what's being done as a presidency and how the position of the presidency has been changed. And so where I'm going is, in all the research I've done and all the stuff I've read about Donald Trump and all the stuff I've absorbed and all the conversations we've had and where we've propelled about that, it makes me look at it and say, I kind of sort of understand, because, when you go through the doldrums of life, you want something exciting to participate in. And if it's a exciting presidential race on a grand scale, hello, Oprah. I'm Oprah. She's done everything, been with all the huge big name gurus, had amazing aha moments. What a great rivalry for Donald Trump. And again, we're in Massachusetts. We don't want to really talk about the people that are deciding to run for Massachusetts.
We'd like to talk about Tom Brady and the Super Bowl instead.
So good job, Tom Brady. From an energy standpoint, because we're looking at everything from an energy standpoint. So when you look at the consideration of a presidential election in 2020, how exciting would it be? It's like a blockbuster movie coming out with President Donald Trump versus Oprah Winfrey. So, I'm excited.
So we started off and you said, what are we going to talk about? And I'm like, I want to bring it around to Trump, because we started off talking about Trump. Mm-hmm. And we wrote a book when no one knew what Trump was doing. And everyone's like, what's he doing? How's he winning? How's he going to make this happen? And we sat down and we wrote a book, because we looked at science principles and we wrote a book about it. And it's funny, because when we sat down tonight and you said, what are we going to do? And I'm like, let me start with this. And the one little thing, all I had to say is, why would he want Oprah to win? And you went off and you said very poignant, appropriate things. Wouldn't it be the same for Oprah? She may be saying, why would I run? Why would I run? The minute you sit down and you get into it, things change. And you know what's interesting is we talked about this, whether Elizabeth Warren, John Kerry, and then you go into everybody else who I'm not going to go into, because I don't want to be called anything. All these other people that are running, it's the same I don't want to say garbage, but it's the same thing over and over. You hear the same rhetoric and you get tired of it. If Oprah were to step in, part of this is interesting, because if she comes in, she's also an entertainer.
Right.
Trump is an entertainer. Right. He knows the reason why the ratings were so high, whether it was a debate, whether it was him getting up and giving a speech about whatever. Everyone was like waiting. Is he going to go off the prompters? Is he not going to stick with the prompt, what it says? And and that was the entertainment portion of it. Who could keep up with him but another entertainer?
Exactly.
Elizabeth Warren, because I'm going to go to her because she is in our state, and we say she's trying to be that, look at me, I'm going to play, I'm one of you, I'm this, and she can't pull it off.
No.
You know why she can't pull it off? It's because that's not who she is. She's a Harvard professor,
I don't know.
I think, is what I've been told from everybody who loves her. You would think she would make that her platform. This is who I am. She's not doing it. She's trying to be everyone's chum. It doesn't work. You can't pretend to be something you're not. Oprah can be on the same stage with Trump because she is an entertainer.
Right.
And so if you're going to deal with Trump and you're not an entertainer, you can't attempt to be on that same space with him. You can't do it. It comes across.
Right.
And, I don't get into politics, but when I saw that whole having a beer with, Elizabeth Warren in her house, it just doesn't come across.
Right.
She can't pull it off because it's not who she is. She's trying to be something she's not.
Right.
And if she continues on that vibe, it's just never going to work. Trump is going to destroy her before she even gets a foothold in there. And that doesn't mean that she's not the best candidate. That does not mean that she doesn't have good ideas. I'm not even commenting on that. That's not what I'm saying. She's not a good candidate. But if she can't be who she is, she can't pull it off. And so when we look at Trump and we look at what we said in the book, right? We talked about all the different science principles that he's using. Positive thinking, which, okay, I know you're pointing to the cover. I'll read it. Okay, it's Donald J. Trump. Do you stand with him? Who does he stand with? The science and energy behind Trump. Because this really, we keep going back to it because there's so much information in here. And it's written simply because, and the reason it's written simply isn't because we're dopes. It's because every time we go back to it, there's something more we glean out of it. And if we gave A plus B equals C, then that's it. It stops there. We left it open-ended so we can continue to go back to it and reflect upon it. And then, oh my God, here it is in another format. And so when we talk about the power of positive thinking and we talk about, Isaac Newton's first law of inertia, and the things that he used in the past when he won the initial, who's the one person that can sort of do the same thing? It would be Oprah or someone similar to Oprah.
Right, right. And, the funny thing about it is we're from New England and the Boston area, and you're rich in the heritage of the insinuation and the vibration of the Boston Tea Party. And of how the ritual of the whole construction of the United States of America was created. It's exciting when you carry that forth all the way across the eastern coast, all the way into Philadelphia. You go to the Liberty Bell, you go into Washington, D.C., and you get excited about independence and being a part of being an American citizen and being a part of this country and what that means. And you take that to the generation of, we do have an influence as an individual, as a part of the political statement, whether you're political or not. And we've gone on and on about saying how we're not political. And yet we looked at the science of this.
So, what's interesting is the truth is that when you have pride in who you are, you can have pride and respect for everybody. So when we talk about being an American and having pride in being an American, if you really truly have that pride and confidence in, I don't know what the word is, other than comfortableness with who you are. Once you have that, then you can be comfortable with everyone. You can bring that into the international arena. because you're not out there trying to prove we're an American and we're this and we're, you just know who you are. And it actually goes when you go to one-on-one with a person, when someone's confident in who they are and they're comfortable with who they are, they actually bring that comfort and confidence in everyone that comes around them. They're not out to prove anything because they just know who they are. And that comfortableness will come through, again, in the international arena. I'm going to go to Kim Jong-un when he's trying to prove himself, right? He's coming in and he's trying to prove how powerful and smart and conniving and great a leader he thinks he is. He's got a lot of insufficiencies in there, because if he were all of that, he doesn't need to prove anything, right? He wouldn't be out there becoming Rocket Man, right?
Right.
And so, if Oprah can move into that space of who she is, and I think we thought a little bit about that with, a lot of people who voted for Trump thought that, well, he's so confident in who he is, that confidence is going to come into the international arena. And, but he's very, but from what we've seen with Trump, he's very much, whether, people call him a bully, and he goes after. If you're confident in who you are, you don't need to bully anyone.
Right.
You just are we talk about that when we talk about the Lao Tzu podcast that we did.
Right.
It's a part of everything. So if you embrace all of who you are, you don't need to prove anything. Right. You just need to be who you are. And that confidence and that sense of self comes through.
Right.
And so when we talk about being American, if we're just like, whoa, here we are, we're this, we're that. If we're not really, truly confident and being who we are, then we need to keep that up, because we need to keep fighting. We need to keep, holding our fists up. If we know who we are and we're confident in who we are, we don't need to do that.
And that takes me back to the resiliency of the forefathers, because as the forefathers determined and created this, union of states in this country, there's beautiful vibration to that. And there's a beautiful energy to that, especially, where we were born and bred in the Northeast here, and especially in Boston with the Boston Tea Party and whatever you want to talk about, the Puritans. Anywhere you want to go with the historical aspect of this, when you shoot it into the political, granted, most of us are just general people. I'm a general person, and I'm not really extremely political, yet there was a vibration of how the general person is trying to move forward with this country and this union of individuals that are trying to move forward with the energy of what they're trying to achieve. And I think getting back into that vibration versus where the political arena has found itself over, hundreds of years now, where it is, I'm not political. And there's a reason for that. And I'm sure thousands, millions of other people could also say, I'm not political. I'm not interested in that. Yet we are interested in the richness and the virility and the sustenance of our country, of our being, of our expression. And so, it's funny, because when we look at, a Donald Trump character versus an Oprah Winfrey character, and we look at anyone that we have been born and bred to know and understand, whether it be from news or from sensationalism, we kind of try to find our own truths in the existence of where they're trying to go with it and what their means are and what their goals are. And I think that's really important, because it takes us all to a sustenance of who we are.
See, to add to that, I would think that Trump would want Oprah to run against him for the same reasons that we have said Oprah should run for president.
Right.
Oprah should run for president for many reasons, but we talk, because we don't talk about what everybody else talks about. And we had said she should run because it's going to force her to be who she is. And I would think that Trump had fun running the first time around, because he really didn't have that. Nobody in that political arena really knew who they were. They were all playing a role. And it's like, well, wait a minute, the role says I do this. And when you slap them upside the head, they don't know how to react.
Right.
Oprah, if she comes in and she's able to hold that space of who she is, that is going to push Trump to really step up his own game.
Right.
And, you know, it's like Serena Williams. We always, I don't know if I always say this because I can't play tennis, that she would never want to play me. Because it's like, I can't play her. She would want to play someone that is on par with her,
right,
because it pushes her to do her best. And when you consistently work to better yourself, to be more of who you are, you want someone who's really right there with you, because they force you. If it's easy, you kind of like half-ass it. You
right,
don't really do a great job of it. So I would think, because we keep talking about Oprah, I would think from Donald Trump's standpoint, and I'm going to say it because he does make comments that relate to a lot of our podcasts. It's actually eerie, that I would say to him, if you really want to work on who you are, you would want Oprah, because Oprah is going to push you, because everyone else is so blah, 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 blah. Same stuff, different day.
Right.
And I would think that he would want Oprah for the same reason Oprah would want to run.
Yep.
And I think that itself, watching two people realizing that the only way to win is who can be really concrete in their beliefs as to who they are and who they're going to be, that to me would make me a political proponent of I don't know who. I'm not going to decide, but it would make me political, because then that's interesting. That to me is worth watching.
I agree. And you know, there's a huge volatility to what you say, because when someone expresses who they are and who they are being and who they are gonna be, and then they carry forward to allow you to be a part of that, that's a huge experience to undertake. That's a huge energy.
It's freaking
to
fun.
Carry forward.
It's fun.
It is.
Let's keep talking. This
and
whole
it's
podcast is about being fun.
Exactly.
Having fun.
And it's also like, it's kind of like going to the ocean and getting a float and saying, wow, here's a cool wave. I'm going to have a blast on this one. And that's what it is. Yet if it's a wave that lasts 4 years or however many long years, that's cool.
Well, isn't it interesting? Because we said this, you know, when the podcast was off, you know, you go through this and you figure out who you are. You really get a clarity as to who you are and what you really stand for and what's really important to you and what you would like to do for yourself and for your country and for your citizens. And then you win, and then you get in there, and you're like, all right, you know. You're caught up in the. Then I think it has to be a letdown, because then you're like, now I'm stuck dealing with all this baloney of, you know, bipartisanship and who's doing what, and am I a Democrat, am I a Republican? How do I get? And it's like there's a party that kind of gets like, And I gotta believe maybe Trump's feeling that. You know, you get to a point, you're like, oh, really? This is really what it is? And
well, that would make a lot of sense as per why he's, you know, kind of going back to the sensation of, you know, where he was decided to be, you know, the number one candidate and the number one runner in the race. I mean, why wouldn't you go back to that space and that time? Because that's where the true vibration is of who you are and what you're striving to be, and the sensation of, you know, moving forward with the country and yourself as well. Thank you for listening to this production from EI Alliance. Check out our Amazon authors pages for books and podcasts, along with our Donald Trump and Oprah books for this series. Find great music by New Threads on iTunes, Spotify, and on newthreads.us.